good job of understanding that it's a team and everybody shoulders the same amount. Like, I mean, McKenna was guarding Aaliyah Boston for so long that night, but I mean, I think it takes all of us, honestly. Like, it takes everybody to guard Caitlin, truly. It takes everybody to guard Angel Reese. It's going to take a village. So I think we all just do a great job of leveling it out. And so there isn't that tension or that pressure. It's just all joy and excitement.
Monika, when you have a player, and you've answered this question so many times, when you have a player who is transcendent for her team to rally around her and really love her, that doesn't happen everywhere. Sometimes there's
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How both you guys worked on that, and probably she has worked on that. So you do feel that, you know, if you will.
Yeah, it definitely has been a conversation we've had to have, and it would be silly for us to pretend like it's not a thing. The eyes that get shown on her, and we talk a lot about how the crown that Caitlin wears is heavy sometimes. It's a lot going on, so anything we can do to alleviate some of that pressure is huge. But I think the biggest thing we can do for each other is just, we're a bunch of college kids, like just having fun with each other, keeping things light, keeping things loose. But I think Kate and I are really lucky that we played with Megan Gustafson, and it was kind of a similar situation, maybe not as dramatic, but the spotlight was definitely shining, all these Player of the Year awards, stuff like that. So we had a little bit of experience on kind of how that team dealt with it and kind of how to help this team deal with it. But I think it's just so huge, and we talk a lot of just about how, yes, Caitlin is shining a big spotlight, but it shines on every single one of us, and it's elevating our game truly. So I think Caitlin would tell you the same thing, that it's a balancing act. It truly is, and we realize that she's got a lot on her plate sometimes. So we need to help her in ways that we might not be used to.
You know, what can you tell us about watching Minnesota Lynx either in person or on TV growing up?
Yeah, I was the back-to-back championship year. I was locked in. Lindsay Whalen is literally a god in Minnesota, and just like my sister played at Minnesota these last 2 years, getting to meet Coach Whalen, just absolutely insane. I admired their bigs. They had a super strong inside presence too. I just remember like going into this little VIP room thing and getting like the trophies in like a glass box, and you're just the awe you can see. It just was so much fun, and that honestly was kind of the first time I was introduced to women's basketball. I didn't really watch a lot growing up. I played it, but I didn't really care that much about it, and just seeing those women achieve something at such a high level was kind of the first time I had ever seen that, so it was huge for me.
Yeah, Monika, Coach just kind of talked about how good Angel is, like as compared to Aaliyah Boston. She's more physical, she's a bigger presence, but Angel is more agile. Just kind of talk about the difference between Aaliyah Boston and how you prepare for Angel Reese.
Yeah, Angel Reese is definitely more of a ball handler. She's almost advanced her game to be more of a wing player, drives to the basket a lot, super physical, great rebounder. I definitely see that comparison in terms of physicality, in terms of domination in the paint. But Angel does do a lot more on the perimeter than Aaliyah Boston did, so it's definitely going to have to shift our scout a little bit, but I think the comparison is just two phenomenal basketball players truly in their own right. Yeah, and it's going to take a lot to try to slow her as much as we can, and she's surrounded by a lot of great basketball players too, so I just think it's going to be a great matchup.
That's one last question. You talk about the fans, and a lot of those fans are the youth.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to an upcoming hooper who didn't get a chance, you know what I mean, to have a lot of offers coming out of high school like yourself? What kind of advice would you give a younger hooper?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all just like fundamentals and just belief in yourself. I think a lot of times people ask me to go work out with them and give lessons, and I'm like, this is gonna be the most boring time of your life because it's like the mic-in, layup drills, like everything like that. So I think it's just when you become so solid at the fundamentals, and Caitlin will tell you too, ball handling is the number one thing she preaches, just getting really good at those stepping stones. But more than anything, just having that belief in yourself, and somebody else will see it and kind of become attracted to it and pick up on it too. It's contagious. So I think that would be the advice I'd give to an upcoming hooper.
Last two questions, we'll start.
I think you answered part of this while I was walking by, but you know, your coaches are all played 6-on-6, legends in their own right, playing wise. But what does it mean to come from, or to play in a state with such rich women's basketball history, especially visible in your coaching staff?
Yeah, it's super cool to kind of hear all the stories, and hear them talking to each other about it. And especially being coached, me specifically by Coach Jay, who is so dominant in her own right. But we have a coaching staff who has individual playing experience and tremendous coaching experience. So we really do have the best of both worlds with that. It's just, they have so much knowledge, a wealth of knowledge behind them. So it's really fun to be coached by them.
First of all, you would have been a great 6-on-6 player, I can tell you that. But, you know, because you guys have been together for so long, sometimes one year morphs into another, but I feel like this year we have seen improvement from every single player individually and as a team. Can you kind of take us through that this season?
Yeah, I think this season we are playing more team basketball than we ever have before. I think other years we've gotten glimpses of it and we've done it for certain games, but it hasn't nearly been as consistent. I mean, we're truly, maybe in other years we're 5 players out there, but we're kind of trying to play a little bit more individually during certain games or certain situations. Maybe the lights got too bright, the situation got too enormous, but I just think this year it truly is team basketball at its finest. We recognize that anybody can have a night on any given situation, and people are willing to do anything for the team. I mean, Gabby Marshall last night, a true X factor in the game. He gets 1 shot, but is phenomenal on defense, gets her hands on so many balls. So, and she, no complaints whatsoever, and has the same heart for the game. That's hard to do, truly. So I just think everybody is willing to give as much as they can for this team, regardless of kind of the personal outcome that comes from it.